Alright, quick update video on a couple of dudes. First off, Poosham, best bot, fight me. Look at him. Look at that face. Look at that face. I don't even care if you can't see it. Look at that face. Eee! Okay, anyway. So first off, Megatron. Get him back in focus here. So, treads. Somebody pointed out that the treads collapse a little bit further and kind of helps hide his face a little bit better. It does. More importantly, it locks the treads in a little bit better. And what was happening with me is I was pushing it back far enough where it kind of locked in and looked right, but I was still having, like, when I would go to turn the turret, it was catching a little bit, and that was what was holding it back. It actually collapses a little further, and if you're having trouble getting it to collapse, push back while twisting the turret. It'll get those two edges up over whatever is keeping it from locking into place. And you can collapse a little further and give you a much more solid tank. So that's Tippy 01. Sideswipe. Somebody pointed out today after I posted the video, it was earlier today, that you can plug this into either end of this piece. So the peg is not behind his head. Which I was like, oh, cool. That makes sense. And I came home to do it, only to find out that I had already done so. Like, I have not touched his missile launcher at all. So I did not have the light bulb go off in my head when I did it, but apparently I have already figured that out. But thank you for the tip. Finally, and most importantly, flywheels. Several people commented on my video about the waist piece and said, hey, you're missing a part. I've seen other videos, there's supposed to be a piece there. And I looked, and I'm like, oh. I looked at other pictures, and I'm like, oh, you're right. Well, dang it. And because I had already thrown away all the cards and bubbles. And so then I went, well, maybe I dropped it somewhere. So I looked in a couple of the rooms. I didn't look hard because I would have. Usually I'm pretty good about noticing if something falls on the floor, especially here in the kitchen where it would make a clickety-clackety sound. So I didn't think I had lost it, but I gave a cursory glance, and I'm like, well, maybe I never had it. And I remembered, oh, wait, I took a picture of them before I opened them on Twitter, and I went and looked at that, and sure enough, right there in the box, he was missing that front piece, this little piece right here in the front of his waist. And then I remembered, wait a minute, those came in the boxes with the black lights. Those didn't get thrown away. They're actually right over there. And I went and I pulled over the box and I shook it, and I'm like, nah, doesn't sound like there's anything in there. But just as a last-ditch effort, I opened it up, I pulled out the plastic bubble, and sure enough, it wasn't rattling because it had popped off and fallen under the bubble. So when I put the tray back in, it was just pushing it down against the bottom of the box. So I found this little piece. It's a little square piece. I'd pop it off to show you, but it actually had like an almost comical spring-loaded action. Once I put it in, if I moved the legs up with it plugged in, it would just shoot right off. I mean, like, pretty impressively, too. As if it were, like, some sort of intentional spring-launched missile. So I went ahead and glued it on. But this little piece right here, it plugged into the two up at the vertical holes on the waist piece that you saw in my original video review. But thankfully, it was in the box, plugged it right back in, and now Flywheels is complete. So, I wasn't intending on shooting a whole update video, but then I could point out the Megatron thing, and then I could point out the sideswipe cannon. Also, the tight waist, or the loose waist, where it wouldn't click in, I actually fixed it myself, because at first I was thinking, well, maybe it's, because it wasn't an issue. Like I said, it would fold down, and it was easy to flip up, but it wasn't like a huge, oh no, it's not functional, because it wouldn't come loose, but it was still kind of bugging me. And so I took like a little piece of paper towel and put it in here and closed this. And sure enough, when I did that, because at first I tried putting some floor polish on the tab in here to no avail. But when I put the paper towel on it and pushed it in, I'm like, it fits securely. So what I did was I used a very thin layer of super glue on here. I painted it. I let it dry. It still wasn't quite thick enough. So I spread like a very thin layer on both sides of the tab, pushed some paper towel onto it. So it kind of soaked up the glue and then glued itself to the plastic, which thickened it up just enough. And then I just colored it with a Sharpie so you couldn't tell. But now it actually, again, you can fully transformable. Doesn't stop anything from happening. But that tab is just now thick enough that when I push it down, it kind of clicks into place. And it actually requires a little bit of force to come loose. Like you can hear it unclick now. So it was a minor issue, but that's at least fixed now too. But anyway, mostly just wanted to point out that a couple little things, and point out that I did in fact have the piece that was missing from my flywheels. It was just down, pushed down under the tray in the bottom of his box. Thankfully, I didn't throw it out, because I did actually thankfully it was just, they were the only things in the garbage at the time. But I did toss out Lionizer's swooshy blade effect, which is over here somewhere under some bots. I'm not going to dig for it, but he comes with like a blue swishy blade effect. You'll see that in his video later this week. And that one had fallen into the tray and was in the garbage, and I got it out. Anyway, so to update, Megatron's tank collapses, locks much nicer, allows the turret to turn without function, and mostly hides his head this time. Sideswipe, locked in waist, different missile launcher configuration, flywheels, has his junk. So there you go. There's my update, and hopefully no more issues with Siege figures. We'll see.